Access your free language gifts right now before they expire. Here's what you're getting this month. First, the Buying Electronics Conversation Cheat Sheet. With this new cheat sheet, you'll learn how to talk about electronics and what phrases to use at the store. Download it for free right now. Second, our printable visual flashcards. Want to speak more of the language? You'll need to learn more words. And with our new printable visual flashcards, you'll know over 1,500 words. Just download and print them out. Third, 30 must-know legal vocabulary. Learn how to say court, law, illegal, and much more with this quick 1-minute lesson. Fourth, how to talk about feeling excited. If you want to talk about your feelings, then this next lesson will teach you 13 words for excitement in just a few minutes. Fifth, must-know Mother's Day vocabulary. Can you say Mother's Day in your target language? You'll be able to with this quick 1-minute vocabulary lesson. Sixth, tired of apps that just teach you random words? With our innovative language learning app, you learn through conversations and start speaking in minutes because the audio and video lessons are just 3 to 15 minutes long. Learning is that easy. Download it for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. And finally, the deal of the month. If you want to finally master the language with lessons by real teachers and our complete language learning program, get up to 35% off with our Ready, Set, Speak sale. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about how to use would to make some future and future-related statements. So I'm going to talk about some ways to use the word would and give some quick explanations. So let's take a look. Okay. The first use of would that I want to talk about is using would for an unreal situation and an unreal future situation too. So unreal means it's not true. Something that is unreal means it's not true now, not true in the future. So we use this to, for example, make a guess, make predictions, or talk about possibility in the future if there's some condition that's true. So you'll see these patterns use if a lot, meaning if that situation were true, something, something, something. So let's take a look at a few examples of this. Okay, first one. I've got a couple of patterns here really, which is if I were something, something, I would in the positive form, or I wouldn't in the negative form. We can also do like he, she, they, we, and so on. So if he or she were, he or she would or wouldn't, blah, blah, blah. And same thing, we can use it here. If it were, it would or it wouldn't. So just a couple of different patterns for you to think about here in the positive and the negative form. But I want to look at actually some finished example sentences here that present an unreal situation and a future unreal outcome. So here I have the same pattern. If I were, we'll use this were, if I were, not if I was, but if I were. You will hear native speakers use if I was. It's not really a communication problem, but were is correct. If I were rich, I would take expensive vacations. So here you see that would is followed by the regular verb. I would take expensive vacations. This sentence shows us if I were rich. This part shows us I am not rich now. But if I were rich, I would take expensive vacations. So meaning this part, this situation is not real. It's unreal. But if it were real, this is the outcome. So unreal situation, but we're just discussing possibility here. Let's look at the next sentence then. Okay, so here, if the party were on a weekend, everyone would come. So here I have were again, and in this case I'm saying if the party were on a weekend, meaning if the party were held on a weekend, everyone would come. So all the people would come. There's a very high chance everybody would come to the party if the party were on a weekend. So this might be a sentence you could hear when you're planning an event. If the party were on a weekend, everyone would come. One more example. If he were a criminal, I wouldn't date him. If he were a criminal, so he is not in this case, in this sentence, but if he were a criminal, I wouldn't date him. So an unreal situation, this person, this he, is not a criminal. However, if he were, the speaker would not date that person. So date means have a relationship with that person. So to kind of visualize this grammar point, we can imagine on a timeline a sort of unreal situation here. So I've marked it here in a dotted line. Now there's this thing that's not real. It's an unreal point. And it relates to an unreal situation in the future. So this is sort of a visualization. We're talking about something not true now, something not true in the future, but perhaps there's a chance that it could come true in some cases, especially with this second example sentence. So we use this to talk about unreal situations. Let's look at some different uses of would, though. I think perhaps the most familiar forms in this lesson are for requests and for invitations using would. So we use these are types of questions, but when we want to make a request, we can use would you, blah, 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 or for a more formal situation, would it be possible to? Would it be possible to? So first, would you, we follow would you with a simple verb. So for example, would you give me the files? In a more formal situation, would it be possible to meet later? So these are making requests, these are asking for something. In this case, files. In this case, it's asking about availability. So we can use would to make requests, something we want in the future, maybe immediately, right away, or later in the future. So would is nice to make requests. We can also use would to make invitations, like the very common, would you like to something, as in, would you like to get a drink, or would you like to watch a movie? So using would here, instead of do you want to, sounds a little more polite. It sounds a little bit more formal. Would you like to, blah, 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 sounds a little bit more formal. Okay, but I want to move on to maybe a more difficult grammar point, which is using would to talk about future but in the past. So before I explain this, I want to give kind of a visual explanation of this point. When we're using this, we combine the past tense, as you'll see in a moment. The past tense, usually a verb like know or think. We have this in the past tense, simple past tense. And then in that past tense thought, we have some idea about the future, and we use would to express that idea about the future. Let's look at some examples of this then. Here, I knew you would help me. So here in the past, at some point, my past tense idea, my past tense thought, I can say, I knew you would help me. So in the past, I knew that in the future, but before now, you would help me. So the speaker would say this now after the listener has helped them with something. So I receive help from someone and I can say this, I knew you would help me. So meaning in the past, in the far past, I knew that this would happen. So we can use would to talk about future, but in the past. Let's look at another example of this. Here, he knew we would hate this. He knew we would hate this. So again, the speaker is talking now, and here's this past tense point. He knew, some other guy, somebody, knew that we, the people involved in this situation, we would hate whatever is happening at this point in time. So the speaker, or rather he in this sentence, knew here in the far past that the other people in the situation would hate whatever is currently happening. Okay, one more example. She thought you would like it. This is very common when receiving presents. I thought you would like it, or she thought you would like it. So here, this one is quite easy to imagine, I think. When the person is shopping, in this case she is shopping and she finds something and she thinks, oh, this person, maybe the listener, will enjoy this present. So in the past, she thought you would, in the future, like it. And did you like it or not? We don't know. But the conversation is happening now. So she thought you would like it. He thought you would like it. Meaning the speaker, or rather the person who made the decision, thought that the listener would enjoy something in the future, but that future point is before now. Okay, one more example. I didn't invite you because I thought you wouldn't want to come. So here I've got the negative. This is a more complicated sentence. So I'm saying there are two points in the past here. So I didn't invite you is one. I didn't invite you because I thought in the past you would not want to come to my event. I didn't invite you because I thought you wouldn't want to come. So meaning, at the point in time when I was planning the event, I thought the listener would not want to attend the event in the future. So I didn't invite the listener here. So in this way, we're seeing actually two things happening in the past. I didn't invite you because I thought you wouldn't want to come. So we should not use don't in this case. For example, I didn't invite you because I thought you don't want to come. That's incorrect because don't is a present tense. You do not want to come. I would ask that in the present, I would say you don't want to come or don't you want to come in present tense. But here I'm talking about a past tense thought about the future. So I need to use wouldn't in that case. It's quite a complex topic, I think, but that's kind of an introduction to this. So I know that that's a lot of information and it might be a little bit confusing, but if you have any questions, please be sure to let us know in the comments section below this video. Of course, if you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. You can check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good resources, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks very much for watching this episode, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about some expressions you can use for receiving things and even asking for things in one case. I'm going to compare a couple of different verbs and a couple of different grammar forms, but you can use these when talking about exchanging objects, receiving or getting objects, or even requesting in some cases. So let's take a look. Let's begin. I want to compare two kind of similar verbs to begin. The first two verbs I want to talk about here are the verbs to get and to receive. So really the difference between these two verbs is that get is just more casual. We use get a lot in everyday conversations. It's just a simple form of receive. Receive sounds more formal. We use receive when we take something from someone else, they give it to us. We use receive in more formal situations. I'll show some examples of that a little bit later. But in most cases, we're going to use the verb get to talk about everyday exchanges. Let's look at a few examples of using get in the present tense and in the past tense for these. So, first one is a past tense example. I got a car for my birthday. So here the verb got is followed by the object here. So I got a car. That's the thing I now have. I did not have before. This is extra information for my birthday. So for shows us the purpose, and my birthday in this case is the reason. So I got a car for my birthday. Here, the next example sentence is he hopes he gets a big bonus. So here we're using gets in the future. We're talking about a future idea, but hopes means it's happening now. He hopes at this point in time that in the future he's going to get a bonus. So he hopes he gets a big bonus is a nice natural way to say that. So remember, when your subject is he or she or it, we also need to change the verb here. We need to make it, in this case, we see it with hopes and gets. He hopes he gets a big bonus. Same thing with she. She hopes she gets. We use this, remember, present tense. We use present tense to talk about like a regular action, something that's common or something that's just part of a regular schedule or part of like a regular activity. So in this case, hopes. So that means regularly, maybe year-round, he hopes he gets a big bonus. Or for the last few months, he hopes he gets a big bonus. So we can think of this as a little extra grammar point for today, I suppose. All right, let's look at a couple of other examples. Past tense here. We got a loan from the bank. We got a loan from the bank. So here is past tense got in this case. Again, we follow the verb got in this case with the item we are getting. Here I've used from. So when you want to show the source, you can use from to do that. We got a loan from, in this case, the bank. You can change this to we got a loan from my parents. We got a loan from our friends. So from is used to show the source of this item, this object, this thing. Okay, let's look at one more example. They got a car for work. So again, we're seeing for is used in this sentence. For is used to show purpose. So here, again, past tense, they got a car, so some item, again, similar to the first example. Here, we're seeing the purpose is work. So they got a car for work is slightly different than I got a car for my birthday. So this is showing the reason the person received the car. This one is showing the future use of the car. I got a car for work. So they're both showing a reason for something. But is it past tense? Is it future tense? You kind of have to look at the situation to understand that part. So those are a few examples with the verb get, or past tense got in this case. We'll go on to some more complex examples later. For now, let's look at the verb to receive. So I've used the verb receive a few times already today, but like I said, receive sounds like a more formal situation. So we use it for maybe business or like honorable situations, or maybe for like rules or for paperwork, for example. Let's take a look. Here, it's an honor to receive this award. So in this case, someone is accepting an award. It's probably a formal situation. So we use the verb receive. You could use the verb get here. For example, it's an honor to get this award, but get sounds too casual for something like an award ceremony. So receive sounds much, much better here. It's an honor to receive this award. Let's look at another one. This one is phrased as a question. So here, have you received your passport? So this might come from a government office, for example, an inquiry, a question about someone's paperwork. Have you received? Have you received? So here we're seeing a present perfect tense question. Have you received your passport? We can use it in this way too. Let's look at one more example. I received an email from my boss. So just as we saw with we got a loan from the bank, we can use from to show the source. So here, I received an email from my boss. If we need to maybe make an explanation in a formal situation, we can use received instead of got here. In this sentence, I got an email from my boss. It's fine also. If maybe you're speaking just very casually, if you're making a presentation, or if you're sharing some key information in a formal situation, though, received might be a better choice. Let's take a look then at the next pattern I want to talk about, which is something gave me. So here I'm looking at the past tense gave. The present tense form is give. So I'll explain a little bit more some uses of give in the present tense. For now, let's just look at the past tense gave. We use this pattern to show an exchange at the beginning of the sentence. So let's look at an example first, and then I'll explain. First example, my mom gave me the keys to the car. So here we have my mom to begin the expression. My mom gave me the keys to the car. So here we're showing the keys started with the speaker's mother, with the speaker's mom, and the mom passed the keys to the speaker. So we're showing an exchange of an object, an exchange of an item. We could use a verb like this, like I got the car keys from my mom, if you want. But here, we're putting my mom at the beginning of the sentence. My mom gave me the keys to the car. So kind of the nuance of the sentence changes. If we say, I got the car keys from my mom, or my mom gave me the car keys, the meaning is really the same. It's just sort of the focus of your attention is a little bit different. Like, my mom gave me something. Maybe sounds like there's a little more emphasis on my mom, as opposed to, I got the car keys from my mom. It sounds more like the focus is on me. So depending on the kind of nuance you want to communicate, you can choose one of these different patterns. Let's look at a different one. The manager gave us free drinks. Okay, here, so the manager gave us in this case, so I've changed me to us here. The manager gave us and free drinks. So this is the item that was exchanged from the manager to us in this case. So remember, we need to follow the verb gave in this case with the person who is getting the item, the person who is receiving the item. All right, let's look at one more. Okay, a very different example here. That dinner gave me a stomach bug. So here, it's kind of a strange sentence. The subject is that dinner. That dinner. So a dinner is not a person. How can it give something? We use this expression, gave me, to communicate an exchange, yes, but we can also use it to mean like passing something along. So in this case, that dinner gave me a stomach bug. Stomach bug is a different way of saying sick. So in other words, that dinner made me sick. So here, we're using gave me to show a cause. So the dinner gave me a stomach bug. The dinner caused me to become sick, in other words. So bug is a different way of saying germ. So the dinner gave me a germ that made my stomach sick. So the dinner is not an actual person that can give things at all, but instead here we're seeing gave used to communicate the cause of something. So you may also see it used in this way. So not an actual person, but something that causes something else, or an object that passes something else to the speaker. So please keep this in mind when you see this kind of sentence. Okay, let's look at a different grammar point. Here I'm looking at something something was given, the passive voice, or something something has been given. Has been given will be present perfect tense. So let's take a look at a couple of example sentences with this. First, our new product has been given many positive reviews online. So here, our new product is the focus of the sentence. Our new product. Here is our subject. And then we have has been given. So here, because we're using the present perfect tense, has been given, we're showing that the reviews began in the past and have continued to the present. Our new product has been given many positive reviews online. Also, in this sentence, we see that there's no action. Who is giving the reviews? We don't know. That's one of the benefits of using this grammar. So who is doing this? It's not important, or it's unknown. We can use was given in the past passive tense to do the same thing. But here, the difference between was given and has been given is that was is a one-time action. It's finished. Has been shows something started in the past and continues to the present. Let's look at a past passive example. She was given 1 month to consider her contract changes. So here we have 1 month as a time period, actually. So you'll see time being given. Of course, we cannot physically give time. However, this expression, to be given 1 month, means to be given that time period to consider something or to finish something. This means it's a deadline. A deadline is established through use of this expression. So she was given 1 month, meaning from this discussion, perhaps, she has 1 month until she needs to make a decision about her contract. So here, because we're using the passive voice, was given, Because we're using this, we don't need to share the person who gave her this time. So maybe it's her boss or her supervisor or the CEO of the company. We don't know. So we don't know, or it's not important to explain that in the sentence. So we can omit that. We can remove that here. This is the key information. She has 1 month to consider her contract changes. All right, so if you want to remove the person doing the action or the person giving the thing, you can use one of these patterns to do so. Okay, finally, I said I would talk a little bit about give, the expression give. So when we're requesting something, when we want to receive something, when we want to get something, we can use the verb give. So we'll use give me to request something, but keep in mind that this is a very casual way of making a request. So give me a drink or give me a minute. We can ask for time in this way. However, we often contract give me to gimme. So not give me a minute, but gimme a minute, gimme a minute. So give me contracts to gimme. So you can use this with your friends and with your family, but if you use this at work or with someone in a position higher than you, it can sound rather rude. So you can use this to request something from someone, like, hey, can you give me that file? Or can you give me a pen, for example? So please give me something. You're making a request from the other person. So these are a few expressions that you can use when you want to talk about receiving something, getting something, or even making a very casual request for something. So please keep these in mind the next time you're thinking about how to explain receiving or getting a thing. If you have any questions or if you want to try to make a sentence, please feel free to do so in the comment section below this video. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good stuff. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about common suffixes. We're going to talk about what suffixes are, and we're going to talk about a few examples of suffixes. Let's get started. Okay, first point for this lesson is what is a suffix? Suffix, that's our key word for this lesson. So suffix. A suffix refers to the letters that come at the end of a word. These can be like 2 letters, maybe 3 or 4 letters. It's like a short group of letters at the end of a word. Suffixes can change how a word is used. By this I mean it can change like the grammar of the word. So meaning changing a word from an adjective or changing a word from a verb into a noun, for example, or into like the comparative form of an adjective. So these can change how a word is used in terms of grammar. Suffixes can also show meaning. So we're going to see some examples where the suffix, the group of letters at the end of the word, give us a hint. It gives us a hint about the meaning of the word. So there are 2 kind of focuses I want to look at for this lesson. In this lesson also, I'm going to introduce just a few suffixes. There are a lot more than these, but these are a few common ones. So let's take a look. First, I want to focus on some suffixes that really change grammatically how we use the word. So if you've watched these videos, maybe you've seen lessons about making the comparative form of adjectives. So in that video, we saw that we use ER or IER endings to make the comparative form of adjectives. Let's look at some examples. So first one, small. The adjective small becomes the comparative form smaller by adding ER. So ER is our suffix here. It creates the comparative form of the adjective. Same thing with the adjective big. By adding ER, the suffix ER, we create the comparative form, bigger. Happy is another example. Happy ends in Y. So when we make the comparative form, we remove the Y sound and use IER. This is irregular for adjectives that end in Y. So ER and IER are suffixes they change adjectives to a comparative adjective form. Let's look at another similar example then. When we want to make the superlative form of an adjective, remember superlative means the most extreme. This can be the most extreme in terms of like the best or the top or the most of something, or the other extreme, so the worst, the least good of something. So when we want to talk about the most extreme versions of adjectives, we use the superlative form. To make the superlative form, we use est or iest. Iest, like we saw here, is used for adjectives which end in y. Let's look at some examples. Same words as we used here. The adjective small becomes smallest in the superlative form. est is the suffix. The adjective big becomes biggest. est is the suffix here. And finally, happy becomes happiest with iest as the suffix. Great. So here are just a couple of common examples of the way grammar can be altered. Grammar can be changed by using a suffix. Let's look at another one though. Let's look at the suffix ness, ness. So this suffix can be attached to some words to create nouns. So again, let's look at a few examples, and also please be careful. We cannot attach ness to all words to create nouns. It's kind of a trick. Sometimes native speakers like to play around and attach suffixes to words that typically do not take that suffix. So sometimes native speakers will joke around and make new words this way. But there are only a few, or I should say there are a limited number of words that we can officially use ness with. These are a few examples. So let's look at, again, a few adjectives that we can change into nouns by adding ness. Here, happy again. Happy changes to happiness, the noun form, by adding ness. Again, we follow this same Y rule. The Y changes to an I for adjectives that end in Y. So happy adjective becomes noun, happiness, by adding the ness suffix. Let's continue on to the next adjective, sad. So sad can become the noun form sadness by adding the suffix ness, sadness here. One more example is the adjective weak. We create the noun form weakness by adding the ness suffix. So these are a few examples where adding a suffix creates a noun. Over here, we changed to the comparative, the superlative form of an adjective. Here, we change a word from an adjective to a noun just by adding a suffix. So these are a few types of suffix, or these are a few suffixes where the suffix actually changes the grammar. Okay. Let's look, however, at some cases where suffix, as I talked about before, the suffix can show meaning. So this can be very helpful when you find a new word, a word that you're not familiar with, but maybe these can give you some hints. We're going to look at three. The first is actually three suffixes. They are er, or, and ar. So these suffixes, these are not the only uses of these suffixes, but they're very common. So er, or, and ar, they refer to a person's job or to a person's behavior. Let's look at some examples. First one, translator. So or is the suffix here. The root is translate. So to translate, to change words from one language to another. So or shows it's a person who does that, a person who has that role. One more, liar. Here we see the ar suffix, liar. In other words, a person who lies is a liar. One more example, investor. Here again we see the or suffix. The root is invest, so one who invests. A person who invests is an investor. Another example, this one with the er suffix, is teacher, teacher. So the root here is teach. Teacher shows us it is one who teaches. A person who teaches is a teacher. So these suffixes, er, or, and ar, give us hints about someone's behavior or someone's job. All right, let's look at the next group of suffixes, or the next pair, really. We have able, able, and ible, so this able, able and able. Both of these mean able to be, or more simply perhaps can. So something is possible, for example. So these show that the root is something that we can do, or it is possible to do, able to do. Examples of this, the word downloadable, downloadable. So the suffix here is able, meaning able to be or can, and the root is download, download. So this means something which can be downloaded, downloadable. Another example, audible. Here we see ible. So here we see in the root place though, odd. Odd is just the root. So odd relates to audio, audio. So audio and can be, actually this word means something that is hearable, hearable. Something that is hearable we say is audible, audible. Okay, one more, reasonable, reasonable. So it's possible to reason. It's possible to think maybe logically or to understand this. So something that is reasonable is something that we can reason. So it seems we can understand that thing, for example, a reasonable price, a reasonable offer. So reason plus able to do something. Each of these shows us that something is possible or we can do that thing. Okay, last one for this lesson is ION. ION. There are a lot of examples of words that end in ION. ION suffixes refer to actions or to processes. Actions or processes. So we have the root plus some action or some process of that root. Let's look at some examples. First one, hospitalization, hospitalization. So here we have this ION, which shows us it's a process. Hospitalize means to go into the hospital, so to enter the hospital. Hospitalization, therefore, is the noun form of that. So the hospitalization was handled by the administrative department, for example. Noun form here. Another example, common word, celebration, celebration. So here we see the root is celebrate, to celebrate something, to enjoy something, to have a party. The noun form, celebration. So we have ION there, which means the action or the process of celebrating, a celebration, noun form. Finally, identification. Identification, we have this ION at the ending, and here we see in the root identify, identify. So the process or the action of identifying something. We use this for like an identification card, which allows us to identify other people. Identification is a noun though. So we use ION to refer to actions or to processes, and they relate to the root of the word. So these are just a few examples of the many, many suffixes we can find in English. There are quite a few more, and maybe I can introduce some more in a different video. But these are just a few, just a handful of some common ones that you can use. So if you have any questions, or if you want to try out a suffix, or if you just want to leave a comment, please do so in the comment section below the video. If you like the lesson, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, you can check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good resources. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to talk about an introduction to email writing. So I have email writing here, but this is email writing especially for business or for other formal situations. We're going to talk about the format, the general format of an English email, and we're going to talk about some patterns that you can use maybe to explain yourself or to introduce an idea, and so on. We'll see a few examples. So let's get started. All right, first I want to take a look at the general format, the basic parts of an email, at least in terms of American English business emails. Simply put, we begin with a greeting, a simple greeting, the dear part of your letter. A greeting, perhaps then an introductory phrase or something that introduces the purpose, the reason you are writing the email. Following that will be any background information or any details you need to provide to make the purpose of your email clear. Following that, a closing statement, something to kind of wrap up to show your reader you're ending the message, and then a sign off, which is really the final point before your name in the email. So we're going to talk about these points. Let's look at some patterns you can use in these emails. Let's begin with the greeting part of your email. If you don't know the person receiving your email, you can use the expression "to whom it may concern." This is kind of a classic line. Some people feel it's a little bit old-fashioned, but it's polite and most people are familiar with it. To whom it may concern just means the person related. So this email is to the person related to this inquiry, to this question. So it just means, in other words, I don't know who to address this email to, but please give it to the proper person, the appropriate person. This is a polite way to say that. To whom it may concern, to whom it may concern. We don't use this in speech. Just to whom it may concern is good for opening emails, for your greeting in emails. If, however, you do know the person you are sending the email to, you can begin with dear, then add Mr., Miss, or Mrs. The difference between Miss and Mrs. Mrs. is used for married women. Miss is used for unmarried women. If you don't know, is she married, not married, use Miss. Miss is the safer choice. You can also use a title like professor or doctor if you know that the other person is a doctor, has a PhD, is a professor, assistant professor. If you know their title, you can use that in the greeting. Dear Professor XYZ or Dear Dr. ABC, for example. You can also use department names here. So dear, maybe international department staff, for example. You can use the name of the department and staff. If it's a little bit more general, like you don't know exactly who to send it to, but you do know the department, you can use department staff there. So department name in this case. Okay, so once you have written your greeting at the beginning of the email, then you can go into your introduction and your purpose. So why are you writing the email? These are a few patterns that you can use. First, my name is. So if this is the first time you have contacted the other party, the other person, you can use this to introduce yourself. So in my case, my name is Alicia, and I am writing regarding and then your topic. So regarding means about. So you're putting this about statement before your topic. So my name is Alicia and I'm writing regarding studying English, for example. So your topic should probably be a noun phrase. So whatever it is, whatever the topic of your email inquiry is, you can put it here. A simpler one, maybe you already know the other person. You can say, I'm writing regarding your topic. So I'm writing regarding English studies at your school, for example. Another one, I'm writing to reach out about. So here I've used about. You can use regarding here too. Regarding just sounds a little bit more formal than about. So reach out though, this implies you're maybe introducing something or you want someone to do something for you. So I'm writing to reach out about a new event I'm planning. So maybe you're trying to gather support for a new event, for example. So to reach out, you're introducing something, you might be asking for help for something. One more, I'm writing to see, so here I have to see, meaning to check with you, in other words. I'm writing to see if you would be interested in. Would be interested in means in the future. Is there a chance you would be interested in something? Interested in, again, a topic. So I'm writing to see if you would be interested in coming to an event later this month. I'm writing to see if you would be interested in teaching a seminar in my school, for example. So this is something, again, you want the other person's participation or you want them to do something for you. You can ask about their interest here. This is much better than saying, please do this. So please do XYZ sounds too direct. Ask if the other person is interested in. Would they be interested in something? Much better introduction. Okay, so these are a few simple examples when you're making a request or when you're writing about a general topic. So how do you then explain some background and some details about this point? So if you are writing regarding like a question, maybe you ordered something from the company, there was a problem, or maybe it was a service transaction, some kind of like business transaction, that's your topic. So for example, my name is Alicia and I'm writing regarding a textbook I ordered. If you want to write and explain a problem, you can use a couple of these patterns, these top two. For example, I placed an order for a textbook on January 15th, but it hasn't arrived. It hasn't arrived. So here, the product I ordered, the date of my order, and maybe an order number would be good too. So after this statement, you can explain the problem. So for example, the textbook I received was wet, or the textbook was the wrong textbook. So you can explain the problem after this expression. So these are perhaps for orders or maybe a service situation. Let's look at the second pair here. If you're looking for someone to do a job for you, or if you want someone's participation in something, you can try using one of these patterns. Let's look at the first one. We're looking for someone to plus your task. So we're looking for someone to help us with data entry. We're looking for someone to teach English lessons on the internet. So would you be interested? Again, we have this same, would you be interested, as we saw up here, asking about their interest. So if you say, please do this, or do this for us, it's too direct. Use would you be interested. We usually say, would you be interested in participating? Would you be interested in teaching? Would you be interested in leading the lesson, for example? So ask, would that other person like to do that thing? Or are they interested in learning more? So here is one way to invite someone for something, or to make a request of someone's time or a request of someone's skills. So here's one pattern. Another one. We're planning an event and would like to extend an invitation. To extend an invitation is a formal expression, which means we want to invite you. So this is our official invitation. To extend an invitation means to invite someone to something, but this is a formal expression we use. To extend means like to put something out, so like to make something longer. Imagine your arm coming out. To extend an invitation, like here on our hand. So we are planning a seminar and would like to extend an invitation to you, perhaps, as well. So this is for an event invitation, or maybe there's something else you would like to invite this person to. Like we're planning a conference and would like to extend an invitation to you to give a speech at the conference, for example. So there are many ways we can change this sentence to invite someone to participate in something. All right. Let's move on then to some closing messages. So after you've explained the background and the details, and you've kind of asked the key question or explained the problem, then we can show the reader that the email is finished by including one of these expressions. These are just a few examples, but they're quite general. So first, thank you for your time. So this is good for maybe a simple inquiry, or if you're explaining a problem perhaps, and you just want to express your appreciation. Thank you for your time. That's a nice one. Another one, I look forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to hearing from you soon shows you expect a reply from the other person. So it's a little bit of a push in this case. So I look forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to receiving a reply from you soon. You're expecting a reply in a timely fashion. You're expecting a reply in a reasonable amount of time. One more, if there is any additional information I can provide, I would be happy to prepare it. So this means if there's something else, additional information here, if there's any additional information that the other person needs, you, the writer of the email, are happy to prepare that information. So in other words, this is an invitation. If you need something, please let me know. I will prepare that. So these are a few nice sentences you can close your email with. Then the final part in email writing is the sign-off. So there are many different sign-offs. Here are a few that I feel are common and easy to use and polite as well. Sincerely is good. Sincerely is quite basic. You can use that in most situations without trouble. It just sounds quite, I guess, quite typical. It doesn't sound so warm, I suppose, but it's fine to use. Another one, I personally like to use best. So best shows, this is short. This is kind of an abbreviated expression of my best, or I wish you the best, but kind of short and a little more professional, I feel, best. Another popular one is warm regards, warm regards. So in other words, my warm feelings, or like I mean this in the best way possible. I mean my email to be warmly received. Another one I've seen is kindly, kindly. So this one is in like a request or just perhaps an information related email, kindly. So meaning I intend this email to be read with kindness. So please don't mean that like I'm angry or anything. Kindly, kindly. Sometimes I see people use yours or sincerely yours. Those are too intimate. They are personal. So using yours implies that you have a personal relationship with the person reading the email, or it could be an intimate relationship. So yours is something I typically avoid in professional emails. Don't use love in professional emails either, or like my love or anything like that. Don't use that in your emails either. But stick with one of these and you should be just fine in most cases. So please just be careful. Don't use yours, don't use love as well. All right, but that's just a quick introduction to email writing, especially professional and business-related emails. I hope that that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, or if you want to try one of these patterns, or if you have a different pattern you like to use in your emails, let us know in the comment section below the video. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good resources. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye!
Can I see the menu? Can I see the menu? When you first arrive at the restaurant and you sit down at the table or at your seat and there's no menu nearby, you can say to the waitstaff, "Can I see the menu?" Or "Can I have a menu?" Which means, "I want a menu. Give it to me, please." Remember, just use this phrase if there's no menu near you or if you don't see one. Next is, can we pay separately? Can we pay separately? This is a request to the staff at the restaurant to pay for your food separate from another person. So if you go with someone else or if you go with a group of people and each person wants to pay for the things they ate, you can use this question. Can we pay separately? In some cases, it might be a good idea to make this request before you order so that the staff can prepare. Can we pay separately? This is a good one to know. Okay, next expression. Do you have any vegetarian dishes? Do you have any vegetarian dishes? So if you are a vegetarian or if someone in your group is a vegetarian, you can ask the staff about their vegetarian dishes, which means the food that they have available that is vegetarian. If you're vegan, you can substitute that for vegetarian in this question. Like, do you have any vegan dishes? You can use whatever type of dietary restriction you have in this question. Okay, next is, what do you recommend? What do you recommend? So if you come to a restaurant and it's the first time there maybe, and you can't decide or you're feeling very open, you can ask the staff for a recommendation. You can say, what do you recommend? Or what's your recommendation? The staff might not have a good idea, so they might ask you some follow-up questions, like what do you usually like to eat? Or what are you in the mood for? Or is there anything that you don't like? So be prepared to answer a couple follow-up questions after this. But if you can't choose, you can say, what do you recommend? Okay, next is, does it contain meat? Does it contain meat? If you want to ask if a dish has meat in it, you can ask this question, does it contain meat? Or you might also hear someone say, is there meat in this? Or is there meat in that? So if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, or maybe you have some other kind of dietary restriction, you might want to remember this question. Does this contain meat? Okay, next is, I will have this one, please. I'll have this one, please. When you make your decision at the restaurant and you want to point to something on the menu, you can say, I'll have this one, please. Or if it's clear that it's just one option on the menu, you don't need to use one in this expression. I'll have this, please, is also fine. You can also use this if you're not pointing at a menu, if you're pointing at a selection, at like maybe an ice cream store. You can say, I'll have this one, please, to be very specific, this one type of ice cream. So it's up to you to point and make it very clear which thing you're talking about. Okay, next expression. How spicy is it? How spicy is it? This is a really good expression to know if you know that you can't handle spicy food. So that means if spicy food makes you feel really sick or if spicy food makes you feel really hot, you should probably know this question. How spicy is it? Or you could say, how hot is it as well? So someone might say it's really, really hot or it's not so bad, it's pretty mild. They'll give you some kind of rating to respond to this question. But if you have a hard time with spicy food, you should probably remember this. How spicy is it? Okay, next is, do you serve any cold dishes? Do you serve any cold dishes? So maybe you go to some place like a grill or perhaps some kind of burger shop, something like that, where hot dishes are the focus. But if you're in the mood for something cool or cold, you can ask this question. Do you have any cold dishes? Maybe like a salad, for example. You can ask this to the staff to see if there's anything else they can prepare. Okay, next is there any dish we could share? Is there any dish we could share? If you go to a restaurant with a group of people, or maybe just with one other person, and you want to ask about a dish that's easy to share, you can ask this question. You can ask, is there any dish we could share? Or can we share this dish? You can make it clear to the staff there that you plan to share something, so they don't just bring one plate. They might bring an extra plate to make sure everybody at the table can have some of what you order. Okay, next is, what starters do you recommend? What starters do you recommend? Okay, starter is another word for appetizer, those small kind of snacks that you have before the main meal. So when you arrive at the restaurant and you're thinking of what kind of things you might want to have a bite of before the main course, you can ask for a recommendation with this expression. What starters do you recommend? Of course, you can also say, what appetizers do you recommend? Or what appetizers are good? You can use either word. Starter sounds a little bit more casual, perhaps, in some cases, but both words are fine to use. Okay, let's go to the next one. Can we have a bottle of wine with the meal? Can we have a bottle of wine with the meal? So if you go to a restaurant and you want to order a bottle of wine to go with your dinner, you can ask this question. Can we order a bottle of wine to go with the meal? Another really common way to do this is just to ask for the wine list. If you want to order a glass of wine, you can do this. Or if you want to order a bottle of wine, you can do this. You can just ask the staff person, can I see the wine list, please? Or can I have the wine list, please? If there's one available, they will bring it to you and you can choose a glass or a bottle to go along with your meal. Okay, next is, can I have a glass of water, please? Can I have a glass of water, please? Okay, so depending on the country and depending on the restaurant that you go to, staff might not automatically provide water at the restaurant you visit. If you need to ask the staff for water, you can say, can I have a glass of water, please? Or you might just say, can I have some water, please? Or just water, please. Something simple like that is the best way to ask for water at your table. Okay, next expression. Can I get one more serving, please? Can I get one more serving, please? So this is a very polite way to say, one more of this, please. If you have one dish and you ate it at your table and you want another one, you can say, can I have one more serving of this if you want to be really polite? I would probably say something like, can I have another one of these? Or can we have one more of these? Or you could even name the dish, like, could we have one more of this appetizer? You can ask for one more or one more serving when you want another one of something you've already ordered. What's the special for today? What's the special for today? Some restaurants might have what's called a special. That means it's one dish or maybe a couple of dishes on the menu that are not part of the regular menu. So the restaurant has prepared some new special dish with some ingredients they have in the kitchen that day. So if you want to ask about this dish, you can say, what's the special today? Keep in mind, not all restaurants have specials. Usually the waiter or waitress will let you know about the special when you arrive, but if you want to check, you can say, what's the special for today? Or do you have a special? Okay, next expression. Do you have any desserts? Do you have any desserts? So when you get to the end of your meal, if you want to ask about dessert options at the restaurant, you can say, do you have any desserts? Or you could also ask, do you have a dessert menu? Or you can ask something like, what sounds good for dessert to the person that you're at the restaurant with? There are lots of kind of sneaky ways to ask about desserts at the end of the meal, but this is a good, polite question to know. Okay, next expression. Could I see the wine list, please? Could I see the wine list, please? Okay, I talked about this a little bit earlier. If you want to have wine with your meal, you can ask for the wine list. So depending on the restaurant that you go to, the wine list might be very short or it might be a whole book of wines. If you want to check out all of the information they have available, you should request the wine list. Can I have the wine list, please? Okay, next is, what is the soup of the day? What's the soup of the day? This question refers to a soup that is available on that day. So that means it might not be part of the restaurant's regular menu. Maybe they have a seasonal soup or a kind of special soup, and you want to ask about that. You can say, what's the soup of the day? Or even just, what's the soup today? Both are fine. Okay, next expression. I'm on a diet. I'm on a diet. So this is maybe an expression you wouldn't say to the staff at the restaurant. You might say this to the person that you're having a dinner with or having lunch with. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about your food choice for the day. You might say, I'm on a diet. I'm going to eat something healthy. Or you might say this to the staff if you are looking for a healthy recommendation. You might say something like, I'm on a diet. I don't want to eat a lot of bread, so can you recommend something for me? In those cases, you might need to use this expression. I'm on a diet. Okay, next is, what does this dish contain? What does this dish contain? This is a very polite way of saying, what is in this dish? Or what are the ingredients in this dish? Generally, in casual situations, we just say, what's in this? Or what's in this dish? If you want to sound more polite, you can use this question. What does this dish contain? This could be really important if you have an allergy or some other kind of food reaction that the staff needs to know about. You can say, what does this dish contain? To make sure everything is clear before you order. Okay, next expression. I am allergic to nuts. I'm allergic to nuts. Okay, a very important question pattern if you have a food allergy. You can replace nuts for any other food in this sentence. I'm allergic to bread, for example, or I'm allergic to something something. Whatever food you're allergic to, whichever food causes an allergic reaction, you can use this expression to describe that. Another very common one is shellfish. I'm allergic to shellfish. So make sure to tell the staff before you order so that they can make sure that they don't give you anything that might contain that ingredient. Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Welcome to Conversational Phrases. In this lesson, you'll learn conversational phrases to comment on a joke. After watching this video, you'll be able to compliment or criticize anyone on their sense of humor. Now let's take a look at some conversational phrases.
Listen to the dialogue.
Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems.
Ha ha, you're so funny.
Listen to it again. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems.
Ha ha, you're so funny.
Haha, you're so funny.
First of all, let's listen to the joke again. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. That's
Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems.
listen to it again.
Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems.
Now, how do you react to a joke? First, you'll need to learn how to say ha ha. That's
Ha ha.
Ha ha,
Then you'll need to learn how to say you're so adjective. The pattern is
you're so.
adjective. For example, you're so funny.
You're so funny.
You're so funny.
Here are a few more words you can use with the same pattern.
Funny. 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 Awesome. 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 Boring. 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 Strange. 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 Strange.
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so awesome. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so awesome. You're so awesome. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so boring. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so boring. You're so boring. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so strange. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so strange. You're so strange.
Okay, now it's your turn. Do you remember what the joke was?
Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems.
Imagine you think it was awesome. Do you remember how to say awesome?
Awesome. Awesome.
Say, you're so awesome.
You're so awesome.
Now, react to the joke saying the other person is awesome.
Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so awesome.
Now imagine you think it was boring. Do you remember how to say boring?
Boring. Boring.
Say, you're so boring.
You're so boring.
Now react to the joke saying the other person is boring.
Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so boring.
Now imagine you think it was strange. Do you remember how to say strange?
Strange. Strange.
Say, you're so strange.
You're so strange.
Now react to the joke saying the other person is strange.
Why is the math book sad? Because it has so many problems. You're so strange.
How are your English listening skills? First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end.
A man and a woman are talking. What time does the interview start? How is your job search going?
Good. Actually, I have an interview tomorrow.
That's great. Do you want to grab a coffee after?
Sure, but the interview starts at 7 p.m., so it will be pretty late.
What about before the interview?
Sounds good. Let's meet at 4 o'clock then.
What time does the interview start? A man and a woman are talking. What time does the interview start? How is your job search going?
Good. Actually, I have an interview tomorrow.
That's great. Do you want to grab a coffee after?
Sure, but the interview starts at 7 p.m., so it will be pretty late.
What about before the interview?
Sounds good. Let's meet at 4 o'clock then.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is how tipping points will bring you closer to your language goals. If you've been learning a language for some time, you know that real progress takes time, that you won't see instant results in the next 5 minutes. And this can be discouraging for many learners. But don't worry, there are secret signs of success that you're on the right track and that you're going to make it. And they're called tipping points. You may not notice them immediately, but you'll always notice them in hindsight. So today you'll discover what tipping points are, how to know that you're on the right track with your language learning, how to reach tipping points, and much more. But first, if you're looking for new free language resources and downloads, here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the Buying Electronics Conversation Cheat Sheet. With this new cheat sheet, you'll learn how to talk about electronics and what phrases to use at the store. Download it for free right now. Second, our printable visual flashcards. Want to speak more of the language? You'll need to learn more words. And with our new printable visual flashcards, you'll know over 1,500 words. Just download and print them out. Third, 30 must-know legal vocabulary. Learn how to say court, law, illegal, and much more with this quick 1-minute lesson. Fourth, how to talk about feeling excited. If you want to talk about your feelings, then this next lesson will teach you 13 words for excitement in just a few minutes. And fifth, must-know Mother's Day vocabulary. Can you say Mother's Day in your target language? You'll be able to with this quick 1-minute vocabulary lesson.
To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. How tipping points will bring you closer to your language goals. Part 1. Why tipping points are crucial for confidence in language learning. So, what's a tipping point? A tipping point is a point that you reach, or a small victory, and it gives you confidence that you're going to make it. It's a sign that you're on the right track. Here's a non-language example. Imagine a gym on a Friday night, and not at 5 p.m., I mean at 10 p.m. What does it look like to you? It probably looks empty to me, like a library on a Friday night. But if you've ever been to a gym on a Friday night, there's a very interesting group of people. The most fit people you'll ever see are there. Why is this a big deal? Well, of all the things you could be doing on a Friday night, if you naturally decide to work on your fitness or any goal that you have, then that's a good sign. So what about language learning? It works the same way with languages. If you find yourself learning and practicing a language on a Friday night instead of watching Netflix, if you're taking language lessons with our innovative language learning app instead of playing a game on your smartphone, if you're watching our video lessons instead of watching random YouTube videos, then you've reached a tipping point. These are all examples of tipping points. It's when you, your actions, and your free time shift away from usual routines like watching TV towards the goals you really want, like mastering a language. That's a tipping point, and it's crucial for your confidence and overall language learning. It's evidence that you're on the right track, and you're going to make it. And you might wonder, how is it evidence if I don't see any progress just yet? It does take a bit of time to make progress with language, but the answer is simple. Language learning is a lot like anything else you do in life. It comes down to where you put in your time. It's like Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule. You need time. Languages don't need 10,000 hours per se, but the principle is the same. If someone spends an hour every day on language and has done that for the past 2 years, that's a lot of time. So you can guarantee that this person is speaking the language with no problems, simply because of the time they put in. So what about you? How can you know if you're on the right track in reaching these tipping points? Let's get into the second part. Part 2. How you can tell when you're reaching a tipping point. Picture it like this. You're learning a language in your free time. You have a small goal set. Now, within your daily routines, you start making certain choices. Between watching TV and mastering a language, you start putting more time into language. Exactly. Last week, you started with 10 minutes of learning and 50 minutes of TV. Then it grows. You spend 20 minutes on language, 40 on TV, and then 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And soon it overtakes your typical routines. That's exactly how tipping points happen. So take a look at how much time you spend on a language and take a look at your recent choices of activities. If you're learning a language with your smartphone instead of playing a mobile game, if you're spending more time watching language videos instead of regular YouTube videos, and if you're learning on a Friday night as a personal choice, that's how you know you've reached a tipping point. Tipping points are something you won't notice immediately, but you will realize in hindsight. But the point is, when you find yourself choosing language over something else, that's a sign that you're going to make it. And if you want to actively reach these tipping points, then it's just a matter of putting in more time. Again, if you started with 10 minutes a day last week, bring yourself up to 11 or 12 minutes a day this week. Simply adjust your routine and add more time. For example, we often recommend you to set small, measurable goals with a deadline every month. So if you are, aim a little higher with your next goal. Add an extra few minutes to your routines. Now, back to you. Now that you learned about tipping points, do you think you've reached any? Leave us a comment. So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about your first steps to learning a language, the Fundamentals Welcome Pack. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! You want to learn the language, but it's hard to find effective lessons that are made by real teachers and that actually build on top of each other, where you're learning new things and reviewing what you've already learned. Well, that's exactly how our audio and video lessons inside our learning program work.
How to learn language fast with audio and video lessons. 4 tricks inside. In this guide, you'll discover 1. How to learn practical conversations in just minutes. 2. 4 tips that'll help you absorb the language and master lessons fast. And 3. How to get our brand new lessons for free. But first, if you don't yet have access to our learning program, click the link down in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now. First, what makes these language lessons so effective? Each lesson is around 3 to 15 minutes in length, making it super easy to breeze through and absorb the language. You're not reading walls of text, but listening to actual native speakers teach you a language. Just press play to start. First, you hear a practical conversation. Then you hear it again slowly with translations. Then, our teachers explain the vocabulary, grammar points, and cultural nuances. Finally, you hear the conversation one last time, and at this point, you understand a lot more than you did the first time you heard the lesson, which is exciting for a language learner, especially when you didn't understand anything before. And you can even start speaking if you repeat along. All of this takes just a few minutes. Then, mark the lesson as complete and move on to the next lesson in our learning pathway, where you'll learn even more and get to review some of the words and grammar points from prior lessons. 2. There are a few special tips and tricks you can do to master the lessons even faster. You can read along with our free lesson transcript so that you can pick apart every word that you hear. You can immerse yourself with the premium dialogue track that gives you just the conversation, with no translations. If you have a question, you can leave a comment on the lessons and our teachers will respond. And you can replay and review the lesson as much as you want, so you can learn at your own pace. So, how do you get access to the lessons? You get the lessons the moment you sign up for a free lifetime account and set your level. Based on your level, you'll get a learning pathway of lessons that's right for you. Just start there with Lesson 1. You can also access your next lesson on the dashboard. And you can learn on the go, for example, on a walk, on your way to work, or while waiting in line at the store with our free app. And as an extra bonus, you get our newest lessons for free. We release 3 to 4 new lessons a week, so you get new lessons every week non-stop. Find them inside the Lessons drop-down menu, in Newest Lessons, or inside the menu on the app. But first, if you don't yet have access to our learning program, click the link down in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Do you feel like you don't speak enough of your target language? That you need to know more words? Then stick around. With these lessons, you'll pick up some of the most common words in just a few minutes. Now, this video is a small portion of our learning program. To get the full lessons, translations, and Fluency Fast study tools, click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account. Learning a language is tough because it's hard to remember every single thing that you learn. But what if you had a cheat sheet with the must-know words, phrases, and grammar rules, where you can glance through and review everything in a minute or two? If you do that enough times, then the language will become natural. How to learn a language 2 times faster with PDF cheat sheets. And in this guide, you'll discover 1. How to learn and retain hundreds of words and phrases with our cheat sheets. 2. How to unlock over 30 cheat sheets, and much more. But first, if you don't yet have access to our learning program, the lessons and special cheat sheets like this, click the link down in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now. First, what are these cheat sheets? With our learning program, you'll learn the language with bite-sized audio and video courses. And as a bonus, you get PDF cheat sheets to help you review the language. These cheat sheets cover must-know topics like weather, family, talking about hobbies, and much more. There are over 30 cheat sheets inside. Inside each cheat sheet, you get the words, phrases, and helpful sentence patterns related to the topic that you can quickly review whenever you have a minute or two. Now, how can you learn faster with these cheat sheets? Just download a cheat sheet, print it, keep it nearby, and glance through as much as possible. Eventually, you'll know all of the words and phrases in and out, simply because you've seen the words enough times. It's all about exposure to the language. The more you're exposed to the language, the better you'll remember it. And you can always save the PDFs to your device, but having physical cheat sheets makes it easy to pick one up and glance through. Otherwise, they'll sit somewhere on your phone or computer, along with the many other language learning apps you haven't been using. How can you get access to our PDF cheat sheets?
Just click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get our learning program and these bonus cheat sheets. Once you've signed up, come back to the special PDF lessons page by clicking the link in the description. Remember, here's what you can do to learn all of these words by heart. Drill these words with our spaced repetition flashcards, which will help cement these words into your long-term memory. Save them to the word bank, your personal vocabulary collection, where you can print out your own study sheets, or review the words with our looped vocabulary slideshow and play it until you know all of the words. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to get these lessons and study tools. Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.